Hey Yahoos, sorry I can't be here with you on your last day of science review. I am driving to Bern right now.
Woohoo!
Because we need to get a passport for Leone. Because apparently you need a passport to get into the United States these days.
What is this, the Soviet Union?
I know, right? So, you're going to press on without me on your semester 2 exam. Some of you have already started working on this, others are starting now. The packet you should have in your hands, but there's a few extras if you need. Before we get there, what I'd like you to try is this warm-up on the half sheet in front of you, talking about after glucose is input to the cell, what happens? What are the pathways? Cool? Yeah. Try that. Give me a pause, and I'll pop back with you in a second. Go. Alright, so glucose is input into the cells in its molecular form, and the first thing that happens is glycolysis, where it rips the glucose apart, glycolysis, ripping glucose apart, and that makes pyruvate. It also makes ATP, so this piece, this arm, is the ATP from the glycolysis, right? There's only 2 of them that are made. Great. With pyruvate in most cells, if you have no oxygen, it undergoes anaerobic respiration, which is also called fermentation, right? This happens just in the goop of the cell called the cytosol or cytoplasm. Neat. The fermentation in our cells produces lactate, which is and it mixes with water to make lactic acid. Cool. And so that's a byproduct. Now, just a little asterisk here. If we're fungi, we're producing alcohol and CO2, right? Those are the byproducts for good or bad, right? And those byproducts are whisked out of the cell and eliminated, right? Great. So that's no oxygen, anaerobic. On the other hand, if you do have aerobic, you do have oxygen present and happen to have a mitochondria. This big purple thing is the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of it's just where most ATP, a lot of ATP is made. The pyruvate and the oxygen are taken in, and that they undergo aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration produces a whole lot of ATP. That's this piece. It also so like 34, 32, right? Those are high estimates. It's probably a little lower than that, but that's deeper than we need to go. It also produces CO2 and water. So when you kind of fog up with a mirror, that's the CO2 and the H2O. Cool. And those are also whisked out of the cell and eliminated through breath, through urination, etc., etc. There's some fine print under here that you don't necessarily need. That's the Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain. If you're interested in looking into those, that's a little bit deeper biology than we need to. But this is just what aerobic respiration is and how it produces the copious amounts of ATP. The piece that I think you should know on the other side over here is that this fermentation, all the fermentation does is changes NADH back into NAD+. Previously, NAD+ had been changed into NADH, right? So this goes from here to here, and this fermentation turns it back over, right? Spins it around, so now we have NAD+ again. And the NAD+ can be used to make glycolysis happen again. Notice that in here, there's no ATP being created. Nope, no ATP. So this is the only spot that anaerobic respiration produces ATP. Fermentation just lets glycolysis occur again, and the glycolysis is what spits out another 2 ATP. Cool? All right. Let's go from there. So you have your exam reviews in hard copy. It's just on the energy for life. There might be some pieces of other units involved, and anytime you can pull in other units for your discussions, I mean, you've seen our exams and tests. It's a lot of connecting concepts and such. That's worth points. The problems in front of you are really similar to what you'd see on the exam, so practice as you intend to perform. Cool?
No, not cool.
The questions are really similar, so spend your time working on those so you have some idea of what you're doing tomorrow or next time I see you or on the exam. So while you're doing that, check on the VLE. Make sure you have grades for criterion C and criterion D. If you don't, send me what you have so you don't have a big old 0. Your yeast lab, I think, is open until this evening, so that hasn't been graded yet. So you won't have a grade for it yet, but make sure that it's in and ready to go. Cool. On the front of the review, there's a checklist about the things that you should be able to do, like interpret a Sankey diagram, figure out what independent, dependent, and control variables are, etc., etc. Look at those. Also, there's a more just content-based, what is anaerobic, what is aerobic, etc., etc. Take a look at those. And lastly, check out a few things from Unit 3, which was energy and fuels, like the alternative energy, which was criterion D that we talked about, and how CO2 is related to greenhouse gases. You might be able to, we should be able to do some at bond energies, like rip the molecule apart and put it back together, how much energy net comes out, that's enthalpy, etc., etc. Cool? Looks like your exam is on Tuesday in the morning. I'll be around all Monday, and so if you have pieces that you'd like to ask me about, come on in, and I will always be happy to see you.
So come stop by sometime next week.
Much happier to see you if you bring baked goods. Great. All right. Well, enjoy the review. Well, I enjoyed driving to Bern.
Woo-hoo!
And we will see you later.
See you later.
Okay, good luck. Bye-bye.